Alright guys, this is a sight reading exercise of a song we worked on before. I transcribed it just for exercise purpose in the higher key. So if you've never played an instrument before, just stop the video and check this out. So this is going to be the language we're kind of using to analyze this next thing. Basically how to count to 4, but which can be harder than you think. So when we look at the score in Treble Clef, I like to look at it from what your spaces are. You go 1, 2, skip a few F, skip a note A, skip a note C, skip a note E, or face. You spell face. There's other ways to remember it, but I prefer the face. What can I say? All about the face. And it'll especially help here because our first note is F. So what the heck does this mean on guitar? Well, these are the notes of the first 4 frets of your guitar. This is what it would look like if you stood it straight up. The high E being the one furthest away, and the low E actually being closest to you. So remember, our first string is the highest, and our 6th string is the lowest. So we count up from the... So if you remember your face, you know right here, down there on this first bass line, we're going to have an F. And then we 1, 2, skip a few A, skip 1, C, E. Right? And that's our face, or F major 7 chord, if we play them all at the same time. Boom. But this F is a little different, isn't it? So if you notice right here, F, there's also an F up here, because F comes after E, right? And on this line, there's a sharp. And what does a sharp do? Well, a sharp makes it a half step higher, which is, on your guitar, 1 more fret higher. So by higher, I mean up the neck, away higher in pitch. So if you want to make this F note higher, you go to the 2nd fret right here instead of the 1st fret. Just because it's not complicated enough, I'm going to throw some sharps in for you. Sorry about that. So now that we played that F sharp, we looked at our next note. It's actually E. It's just a whole step down. Notice there's nothing between E and F and B and C, but others have flats and sharps in between them. So our next note is below the stab, which is a D, which we can find on our 2nd string. So now we make a little jump down. We can do it one way. There is an open B there, but I prefer to play B right here on the 3rd string because it makes this really nice line-shaped pattern that is easier to remember and kind of flows better when you do legatos, when I start talking about hammerings and pull-offs. But do whatever's comfortable. But I find there's more to remember. You have to remember more when you're using open strings. But so now we got that B. We play that twice. Now, the next note is just 1 lower. So you're starting to read some ledger lines with the pain in the butt, but you look at the distance from it, it's A. And then we can find our A right there. So that's the lowest note we're going to play in these 5 bars. So that's something to be happy for. But it's only for a second. And then we start going back up. We go right back up to B. And this is a slur, so it means, well, we might not actually pick it. We'll do a hammer. But as long as you can play the note, who cares? Right now, this is just about playing where our fingers are going to go. So this is going to send us right back to D. As you can see, we're in the, you could call it the 2nd major, with the note that's just below, in the space just below the line. D. And luckily we play that twice, so it gives us a chance to regroup. And then we go just a little bit higher, and we play that open E. Just so you can hear that, starting with the F sharp. So far, we should have... Cool, so after we play that E, we're just going to go right back to D, which is actually a pickup for the next little vocal phrase. Kind of like how we started the song. And then we're going to play our F sharp again, which is the first note we started with, remember? Now we got a little cluster of 8th notes, which Might seem a little daunting, but it's nothing we haven't done before. We just haven't played 4 in a row yet. So let's take the time and just map out what we're actually going to do before we go further. So we're going to start with an F sharp. That's the same note we just played, so that one should be easy. We're going to go down a whole step. We're going to play that E, right? And then now what is it? We're going to go down again. So we're going to go down to D, something we've already done. And then we're going to just go up just a little bit, back to E, which we can play on our open string. Which in turn brings us back to our F sharp again, right where we started, full circle. So we're going to play the highest note in what we played so far, followed by the lowest note, which seems like a jump, could be on piano or any other instrument, but let's just look at like how really far away this is when we look at F sharp. We have the F sharp on the 2nd fret, right here, right, and then we got to go to A, which is actually on the same fret. So we got to just plan a way that we can get to that A without being clumsy and hitting the note that we want. So I recommend doing a pivot, kind of just pivoting the same finger. Something we'll talk about in more detail later. And the last thing is just another pickup for the next phrase of the song. The notes from the 2nd phrase should sound something like this. Cool, we made it through that. I'll do another video on just showing my hands and work on keeping time and doing all the proper hammer-ons, pull-offs, and pivots. But I probably won't go through the whole thing because I think once you get the first 5 bars, you should have the knowledge to at least kind of start learning how to transcribe the rest, which I think will be a really fun exercise for us in the meetings to actually figure out and plan and create tablature for how the heck we're going to play it, because the next part, there's kind of more options on how to play it, because you're going to have to break out that little box that we initially set up. But all in good time. It was a pleasure, and I hope to see you on Tuesday and or Thursday. Peace out.